Many people claim, and many others question, the existence of ESP, extrasensory perception. Erin Moriarty of 48 Hours has gone searching for answers.
This is Uri Geller.
In the 1970s, a handsome ex-Israeli army paratrooper popularized extrasensory perception, or ESP.
Bend, melt.
Uri Geller claimed he could bend spoons with his mind,
Look, you see?
see inside sealed containers,
The steel ball is found.
and even read other people's minds.
As you can see, he is quite elated about getting the right answer.
It was great television. But offstage, Geller had also caught the eye of the intelligence community.
And this is where it got very interesting, because scientists would consider, wait a minute, maybe we can read the minds of other government officials. Maybe we can see inside a nuclear facility in Russia.
It sounds incredible, but it's true. Relying on now declassified documents, national security reporter Annie Jacobson has written about the U.S. government's decades-long attempts to use Uri Geller and others like him for psychic espionage.
It's sort of like a highly classified black program inside of a black program. One, because you don't want the Russians or the Chinese to know what we're doing. And two, because a lot of scientists didn't want their colleagues to know what they were doing because of the embarrassment factor.
And there had long been reports, says Jacobson, that the Kremlin was also experimenting with ways to weaponize people with ESP.
And there is a declassified report that talks about the Pentagon's real fear, citing Uri Geller by name, that if he was able to bend metal with his mind, he might be able to use his mind to interfere with the delicate electronic system on a nuclear-tipped ICBM.
Keep looking.
But Uri Geller's skills turned out to be unreliable.
Uri was telling me you don't feel, what, strong tonight?
I don't
Is that
feel strong.
As seen in this now infamous appearance on The Tonight Show in 1973.
I can't.
Well, I'm not trying to press you, I really not.
Still, that didn't stop the government experiments. In the 1980s, the Defense Intelligence Agency began Project Stargate.
It was top secret, actually beyond top secret.
Dean Radin, a scientist, worked on the program that employed about a dozen psychics and mediums.
For what?
For espionage.
To see whether someone in the United States could spy on other countries from here,
Right,
just using their mind.
right.
Did it work?
It did work, yeah.
I was good at finding people. I was good at locating things.
Angela Ford was with Project Stargate for 9 years. She calls herself a medium. The Defense Department preferred remote viewer.
In a sense, were you hired as a psychic spy?
I guess, yes.
Her assignment? To look for missing hostages and fugitives without ever leaving this building at Fort Meade in Maryland.
I was called into session, and my boss asked me, "Where is Charles Jordan?"
In 1989, Ford says she was able to psychically track down a former customs agent who had allegedly gone rogue.
I said, "The man is in Lowell, Wyoming," and I spelled it Lowell.
Ford was off by a letter. It was Lovell, Wyoming.
Well, when my boss went to Customs and said, "We're still getting the Wyoming feeling," Customs said, "As we are speaking, we are apprehending Charles Jordan 100 miles west of Lovell, Wyoming."
So you were right.
We were right.
There's no obvious explanation for how Ford obtained the intel that turned out to be accurate. But could it have been ESP? Not according to physicists like Caltech's Sean Carroll.
Is there such a thing as ESP?
No. I think we know enough about the brain to say, no, it really doesn't work that way. We'd be able to test that, be able to put a little receiver next to your head and pick up those signals if they were actually coming.
They can't detect it yet.
You believe ESP exists?
of course.
In 1995, Project Stargate was shut down, but government interest in the paranormal has not been completely abandoned. Writer Annie Jacobson says the military is studying soldiers who seem to be able to sense danger.
An example would be a soldier out in the battlefield with a unit, and the one soldier says, let's not go down that street any further, I sense an IED. They'll send a robot out, and the robot will locate the buried IED.
It's called precognition, sensing what will happen before it does. Dean Radin, now at the Institute of Noetic Sciences that studies ESP, put me through a test.
This experiment is going to see if your body responds before you see an emotional picture as compared to before a calm picture. And there we go.
If the pupils of my eyes dilate before the disturbing ones appear on the screen, that's precognition. And I'm going to find out whether I have any special powers.
We'll find out. And the answer is yes.
That I am reacting before I'm seeing an emotional picture.
5 seconds before.
Whoa, I sure didn't see that coming, which is why I have my doubts. But those who have seen people like Uri Geller and Angela Ford in action say you can't dismiss the idea that some people may have ESP.
What we're talking about is something like a talent, similar to musical talent or sports talent. So there will be some people who are at the Olympic level. Most of us aren't there.
There's instances of unusual situations, but there is no proof. It does not pass scientific muster.